Here's the Saudi Arabian Minister for Foreign Affairs about to call the kettle black. He is going to have a go at Qatar.
The Qataris, since the mid-90s, have been sponsoring radicals. They have been inciting people.
And Saudi
They
haven't.
have become a base for the leadership for the Muslim Brotherhood. The Qataris allow their senior religious clerics to go on television and justify suicide bombings. That's not acceptable. The Qataris harbor and shelter terrorists. That's not acceptable. The Qataris are funding dissidents in the Emirates and Bahrain and Saudi Arabia and in Kuwait in order to cause problems for those governments and to create instability. Why would you do this? The Qataris pay ransom to terrorist groups, including $500 million to Hezbollah in Iraq, including I don't know how much to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Is that acceptable? The Qataris use their media platforms to spread hate. The Qatari...
Okay, so the powerhouses in the Middle East, you've got Shia Islamic Republic of Iran, and you've got Sunni Saudi Arabia, Salafi Sunni Saudi Arabia, this movement that emerged just over 200 years ago that wanted to go back to the original way that Islam was practiced by the Salaf, the first couple of generations after the Prophet. So within that movement, there is also the Muslim Brotherhood, who I think follow the writings of Qutb, who also kind of describe themselves as Salafi, but they're a different type of Salafi. And the Muslim Brotherhood believe very much in a political Islam, that Islam can be applied to modern day politics rather than going all the way back and implementing it the way that it was 1500 years ago. So you've got this rift, and Qatar, being as they are of a Muslim Brotherhood type of mentality, they are somewhere in the middle, and they're not loyal to Saudi, and it seems that they are open to relations with the Shia in the Islamic Republic of Iran. And Qatar, when they intervened in the crisis in Yemen, they actually went against the Saudis, and I think they helped the Houthis at some point. And they've also kind of been friendly to the Syrian regime. So even though they've also propped up radical Sunni elements, they've also befriended these Shia extremists. And the Qatari government would be aligned with Turkey, who are again in the middle, not with Saudi, but not Shia either. They are Sunni. They are of the Muslim Brotherhood brand of political Islam, and it's meant that the split among the Muslim nations that in the Middle East has not been it's not as simple as Sunni versus Shia anymore. This Muslim Brotherhood, and there are some of the Islamic resistance movements in Palestine would come from that sort of school of thought. It's made the water quite murky. For example, in Syria, some of the Palestinian resistance were based in Syria for a very long time. And then when the uprising happened, because the Muslim Brotherhood were against Bashar al-Assad, some of those Palestinian factions were also against Bashar al-Assad. But then in the end, they declared themselves neutral on the matter. So is it hypocritical for Saudi Arabia to have a go at Qatar for propping up radical extremist groups? I think so. But it's not black and white. It's not a black and white issue.